To Abdul Razak is one strong lady. What could you comfortably do for 200 plus hours with as much vim, as much vigor, as much energy? I don't think you heard me. 227 hours. That's some 156 meals cooked, 2,864 plates served, some 450 plates served to orphanages and the less privileged. Give it up for Chef Faila. You have to give it up for Chef Faila. How amazing. Studios this morning. Chef Dede Kumasa is a private chef and tutor. She joins us this morning. Chef Dede, good morning to you.
Morning. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. You're a real chef because you've got a uniform.
Yes, today I dressed for you.
We love that. I'm sure you've been following quite keenly on as Chef Faila has been wowing us with her energy and the food and the passion and the commitment.
Yes. I think I saw somewhere that she said she literally wanted the next person who wanted to break the record to kill themselves. So she succeeded because, wow, it's incredible.
227 hours later. But of course, the Guinness World Record authorities will review that and will know what the exact number of hours she's cooked for is according to their rules and regulations. Absolutely. But no mean feat or no easy feat.
I'm telling you.
What could you comfortably do, Chef Dede, for 200 plus hours?
Listen, when you were asking the question, the first thing I said in my head is I can sleep. I will do a sleepathon because girl, look, 10 days. 10 days, after the 5 days, everyone was like, okay, she's going to end now. And she was like, listen.
She kept on going.
Going.
What's the longest time that you have cooked or been in the kitchen cooking?
Okay, so when I worked commercial, I think there was a day I did 21
hours of cooking.
And even then, my boss kept signaling me. He's like, listen, I need you to go home. This is not legal. They can come for me. I cannot have you here on the premises. He literally kicked me out. So 21 is the longest I've done, and she's done times 10 of that. So
my goodness.
Yeah.
And what was the feeling when you got home after 21 hours of being on your feet, cooking in a hot kitchen? There's heat, there's steam, there's oil, there's all sorts.
I think too, when I was watching her, because she would be dancing, she'd be energetic, she'd be entertaining the crowd. You're running on adrenaline. You don't even realize it, but you're running on adrenaline. You're dishing out the plates, you're taking instructions, you're, so focused on details. And it only hits you when you get home and you're like, wow, I can't move my legs.
All the muscles start to throb.
Yeah.
And this morning we were hoping to, of course, engage with Chef Faila on Zoom, but her husband has informed us that, the bones are tired. Yeah. And we understand. The muscles are tired.
Let my wife rest.
And we will happily oblige. She's done enough to keep us entertained and keep us proud for 10 days nonstop. We owe her, some rest. Yes. But Chef Faila, you said you have the energy. We believe you, so we're counting on you to get back into the ring so we can really tap into that energy. But Chef Dede is here with us, and we'll be getting some more insights into what it means to be on your feet in a hot kitchen cooking non-stop. But our resident biter, Mr. Hughes, is on the line. Johnny, good morning to you.
Good morning, Helen. How are we?
Fantastic. Are you still in Tamale?
No, I left Tamale last night with the last flight.
Okay. What food did you bring with you?
Well, I brought some of the frog.
There was frog available.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah, it was part of the delicacies that Faila cooked.
Exciting.
Yes, and then it was there. So I brought some of the roasted ones.
Roasted frog. But what about the other stuff, the jollof rice? Did you bring any of that back with you?
Well, you couldn't have brought them because they were so sumptuous. You had to eat them right there.
Hey, Nipa ye Cobra. Well, we've definitely missed you here at HQ. Everybody's asking of you. But I said, well, you're putting your feet up as you should. What was the feeling like in Tamale when you arrived? Were people still energetic, still upbeat, still supporting Chef Faila?
It was like an everyday, all-day festival in Tamale. Wherever you went to, whether you went to Sabunjida, because what actually inspired me to go to Tamale was the fact that I had a fan mail from the folks in Sabunjida. That's where Faila's family is.
Okay.
And our team had gone there to do some interviews, and they said, well, they want to see me in Tamale. I should come there, like, some other senior media people have done. I see Pratt and the rest. I said, okay, fine. Well, let me take the challenge. So I went there. I went to Faila's place first, of course, just to go and also vim her up and spice and spruce up the event. And right from there, right from the airport, it was a frenzy. I mean, I can lie about
Right
that.
from the airport, you say?
Right from the airport. I mean, the drivers who are going to, if you know Tamale Airport, once you get there, there are shuttles going to Wa, Boga, all those other places, where the planes actually do not go. And they say, oh, Mr. Johnny's bite. Mr. Johnny's bite. So it was all through like that. And I thought, okay, maybe it's airport, so it's cool. Then we got into the town, and it was a different ballgame altogether. You are here to see Faila. Finally, you kept your promise. Oh, God bless you. That kind of thing. And for all the 10 days, it was a festival. Whether you're eating, in the outskirts, in some pub or in some eatery restaurant, everybody's talking about Faila, how she's made them proud. And for me, that was heartwarming indeed to know that one of our own has put us back on the map for a very, very good reason. One of our own has decided to showcase our culture and tradition. One of our own has decided to show us how teamwork must be done, because we see Faila, we see Chef Eric on the front line, but on the back end, and we had the privilege of seeing that. On the back end, there are people chopping their tomatoes and onions and, whatever it is that they need, garlic, ginger, and a lot of local spices actually also went into the food. So you could actually have a real taste of what the northern part of the country actually feels like here. So she taught us teamwork as well. And then she also taught us to have strength and energy, a can-do spirit. What she has done is to not just open the door for many other young people, but also to hold the door open for a lot of young people to come through. That's what Faila has done with this singular, achievement that we are all very much proud of. And particularly yesterday when I went there, she said she was going to close at 10. And then she ended at 11. She added 1 extra hour for Jara reasons.
I think but for her team, she would have actually kept on going. They had to intervene and ask her to relax.
Yeah, because we got there. So we got there before 10. We're waiting. 10 o'clock, Madam is still cooking. Okay, what's going on? So I asked the husband, Captain AJ, because when I went there the first day, I had a connect from Burma Camp. So, it was easy to reach him. So I reached him and I asked him, Chama, what's going on? He said, oh, Madam said she wants to cook some more. I said, okay, we did. If we cook, we go chop. So then she went on to 11 and then she ended. But one thing that was also very beautiful, I mean, look at the people that Faila was able to rally. People from the political landscape, people from art and entertainment, people from the military. Yesterday we had the military high command in Tamale.
Amazing.
Brigadier generals and all of that come all the way to come and support Faila. And they were there when the national anthem was being sung. After all was said and done, they were there to throw proper salute, at Faila. And it was so beautiful. Fire service, prisons, immigration, police, the National Cadet Corps were also there. I mean, name it. Just name it. And everybody, GRA staff, name it. They were all there. Every ECG, Ghana Water. They came there in their uniforms. I'm sure some of them were sent to go and recover some some money somewhere.
The GRA had their uniform on. Was it a taxathon?
Yeah, well, I don't know. But GRA had their jacket on. I saw some ECG. I mean, everybody came there in what they were wearing, and it was nice. It was very nice. The different cultural troops. There were. I also saw the comedians from the north. They came to have a drama session there. And then I saw the Ever community in the north. They came to do their bobobo, their own
amazing.
And then that was what God, I mean, one of the other tribes, I've forgotten what tribe it is. So after the Evers finished their shakathon, the bobobo, they do a lot of
shakathon, yes.
Yes. when they finish their shaking, as one other tribe in the north, I've even forgotten. They also came. They also have their own version of shake-a-thon. So it was they shake the devil off.
And for a lot of people, they're saying that now we have a bit of a spotlight on Tamale. People have, thronged to Tamale to go and support her, but it's also done a good thing by boosting the local economy. So there are those that had camped outside the premises of the cookathon. They were selling food, they're selling all sorts. Did you get a feel that the people in Tamale are grateful for this exposure and are looking to expand it further?
Very much so. I mean, so what we, again, the focus was just around the hotel. People had seen it. You see the motorbikes. That means transport for those who were not driving. Also, people were selling confectionery, fast-moving consumer goods, water. I mean, that was around the place. But I always like to extend it because, as a journalist, you need to go beyond what you see and then lift the other layers. So we went to different places to it. I went to a Dawa Jollof joint, for example, and the queue. So I asked the woman, why is the queue usually long? She said, no, people come, they buy, they go, but it looks like there are more people here who want to try new things. And so I just did a quick survey in the line, and most of the people were not from Tamale. They had come either from, further up north or further down south just to come and experience. And so they had also come to try it. I went to a fufu joint, a yam fufu joint. And
John, you went for an eat-a-thon?
No, I went to explore. I wanted to know what was happening, and in trying to know what's happening, you also have to immerse yourself in it. I mean, you can't just observe.
Of course. You participate. Well. Active participation. We understand.
Yeah. So it stretched beyond the hotel premises and the precincts of the hotel and the outskirts. It went into town. And the hotels were fully booked. I mean, where I slept, for example, was fully booked. As soon as somebody checked out, somebody checked in. And it should tell you that the people are grateful for it. And they kept talking about it. They said, we wish Faila will cook for a month. I said, you want somebody to cook for a whole month?
All right. Thanks for that, Johnny. But Chef Dede also is still with us here. And joining us on Zoom, we have Peter Amadou. He's a psychologist, and he was on Chef Faila's psychologist and on the team, part of the medical team. And this medical team was made up of staff of the Tamale Teaching Hospital, as well as the 6MRS. Doc Kamina Barracks. Hello, Doc. Good morning to you. Hope you're well.
Good morning. I'm doing well.
And
it's another beautiful day.
It's another beautiful day. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. You look like you're in great spirits. Is it because you've been enjoying all types of dawa jollof, frog? There's been TZ. I saw pancakes. I mean, we've been salivating here in Accra. Before we even get into it, please, what are the dishes that you have enjoyed in the last 10 days?
I thank you very much for this opportunity and to your listeners out there, to say that it was exciting. First, I will say the first meal I took was jollof, and I took plain rice with a stew.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, I don't know, just before my taste, I think I love jollof so much, so I ended up taking a bit more of the jollof.
All right.
Yes, but a good number of my colleagues had the teaser, the fufu, and all of that, and everybody was wowed by the taste of the meals.
Exciting. A very good, a good couple of days enjoying some good food. But as far as embarking on a feat like this, how does one psychologically prepare to not only be on their feet throughout, but also, not give up? Because once you've declared your intention to do something like this, all eyes are on you. There's a lot of pressure. You don't want to let down your family. Now the entire country is behind you. You've got the chief of staff coming to lend their support to you. What does that all mean, for the person who's embarking on something like this?
Okay. Thank you very much. I think from day one, I met Chef Faila, or let me put it, Executive Chef Faila, as I keep hearing my lifestyle TV presenters use as her colleagues came to accord her that accolade. From day one, I met a young lady that was looked poised, was quite confident about her skill, and ready to surprise the world. That was my first impression I got from her. And anytime I told her I was engaging her, I got the response, say. And I'm sure yesterday, those of you listened to her, her media address, she kept using words like that. And found that this lady was quite enthusiastic in a skill that she has enjoyed over a period of time. What we then did was to dive into her medical dynamics to find out, if you say you want to do this, medically, can you really be able to do that? And we had, as you've just done the introduction, we're a team of medical professionals, specialists, of course, from the Tamale Teaching Hospital and then the 6 MRS, the Kamina Barracks. And after doing a series of medical exam on her, they came to the point that our dear sister was medically fit with the labs and then the sort of medical information that we have on our table. But again, we also, from my perspective as a psychologist, what I did then was to, if you say you're ready, the body may be ready, but is the mind ready? So I had to take her through what I call a psychological test.
So you say the body might be ready, but the mind might not be ready.
Yes.
How long did the medical assessment take before she started cooking, the physical assessment?
Yes, I think listening to her managers and how we came across this information, I hear the information from the Guinness record was quite short to her.
Okay.
And she immediately had her team from the 6 MRIs. That's the Kamina Barracks hospital.
Right.
And I think they started the process, I think, some few days or, a week before we got on board from the Tamale Teaching Hospital.
Sure.
So when we got on board and being a group of professionals that we had, what they did, we tried to confirm that. And what we saw were quite okay. And so we thought that having done this particular test from a recognized and a reputable health facility, we didn't need to bother ourselves at all. So she had some bit of like a week or two of preparation. And that preparation was in combination to the visits to the chiefs and all the important people, the hotel and people she wished they could come on board. So we knew this would have a toll on her in terms of stress. So I then have to perform the mental health assessment. And I must admit, she surprised me with her mental health assessment because at a crucial moment like this, you were expecting some psychological construct to be very high or at levels that you want to put in an emergency intervention. But that was not what I saw when I did the test. So I then said, if this is what it is, then our contestant is ready to go to the kitchen. And 6 hours to the contest, I did another test that also confirmed that in as much as the euphoria was there, the enthusiasm was there, but our lady was still managing her stress level and her anxiety levels very well. And so we got into the kitchen, and after 24 hours, it was like enjoying your game.
I see.
That is what we saw going through the 10 days of the cooking with our sister.
Amazing stuff. Let me bring Johnny in here very quickly because he was on the grounds. Johnny, was there any signs of anxiety or trepidation when you were witnessing Chef Faila cook?
No, I got in on Sunday morning, and as of the time I got there, she had already done about 4 days or so, and she was still dancing. I was surprised. When I got there, having gone through the plane, visited some of the communities before I got there, she was dancing. I was surprised. So I asked my designer, Sonar Fashion, I asked him, has she always been like that? Of course, I've been to Faila's restaurant before in Tamale to go and eat. So I said, but she doesn't usually look like this. Why is she so excited? She said, I don't know. I said, okay. So when I went there, I gave her a pump up, and she was so happy, and then she was still dancing and feeling too cool. I said, wow, there has to be some power behind the performance. And I speaking to people around there, they told me, well, she's self-motivated. Then somebody showed me a video of her, doing her morning jogging and her evening jogging. I said, oh, okay, that explains it. She has a lot of mental fortitude to be able to do all of this, and she put her mind to it. And that's the bigger picture, putting your mind to the thing. I tell you one thing that I also saw. The psychological effect of what Faila did in terms of the presentation and how she garnished her food.
Right.
I can tell you on authority that it had an effect on a couple of the eateries that I visited in Tamale.
I see.
So,
they want the Chef Faila touch.
Exactly. So yesterday, for example, I posted a photo of my TZ that I had in the morning at my hotel. And the TZ now had, some nice garnishing of onions and green pepper and the rest. I said, well, Faila really has, psychologically tuned the minds of the people that it's not business as usual, but it can be done to a certain professional touch. And for me, that's big indeed. I think she needs to be studied in school. How she was able to keep the energy up all through, how she was able to reflect that brilliant and happy demeanor throughout the session, so that if you came there to support her, as soon as you saw her in a very jubilant and ecstatic mood, you also got into that mode. You're either going to dance or going to speak to the people. She had a way of rubbing it off you, and I think it was a good thing that she kept the energy, because as I mentioned earlier, she also had a back-end staff who were doing most of the cutting and stuff for her. Those people were usually outside the frame. So can you imagine they watching the TV in there and seeing their head chef breaking down? They will break down.
Absolutely.
But then if the head chef who is leading from the front is not breaking down, how dare you break down?
You have to keep forging ahead.
Yeah. So I think that she combined the two very well.
Amazing.
She showed a lot of endurance, and kudos to her.
Now, Chef Dede is still with us in studio. Chef, how vital is teamwork?
It's very important. And, one of the rules for breaking the record is that you cannot cook by proxy. They say you have to cook yourself, but you are allowed a sous chef to prep for you. So it's very important in terms of the foundation, preparation, to the cooking, to the execution. Yeah, so she had a good team there.
Very important. But we also have on the line our colleague Christopher Amaku. He's our Northern Regional Correspondent. He's been a man on the ground throughout this cookathon, and he's been bringing us all the euphoria and excitement as the days have progressed. Christopher, hello, good morning to you. Hope you're well.
Yes, I'm good.
I don't believe we've spoken this year, so happy New Year.
Many happy returns to you.
And what a way to ring in the new year with this very epic cookathon. Some 227 hours clocked by Chef Faila. Now, yesterday we were watching as the cookathon came to an end. The national anthem was playing. There was a lot of emotion in the air, but you were there and you have been there throughout the cookathon. When it finally came to a head, what was the vibe in Tamale?
Yes, so Tamale was sort of charged even some 2 days before Faila started her cooking marathon, because already Asantewa had done it in Naka, and it came something like, she had a massive support in the south, so
that's right.
It was time for the north to also show Faila that support. So ahead of the start of the cooking marathon, that support had already started growing. So the very day she started, midnight of 1st January, a whole lot of people were at the mall start. And when she started with about, I can say that the numbers that came that night was about. The next day, surprisingly, the number shot up to maybe thrice the number came the first day. So it's been massive for Faila in Tamale. In fact, this morning, people still feel like, oh, let's go to Morning City Hotel and see what is happening there.
I
Whether
see.
Faila is back there to do A, B, C, D. Yes.
They want her to
People
do part two,
really,
cookathon, the return of the cookathon.
especially those the smaller markets that sprang up around the venue. A whole lot of people made money from this. Others met friends, and one thing is that it brought about unity and togetherness of the people of the North and Ghanaians. That is very, very important for the people.
And that's been very lovely to watch, the support from far and wide. Now we're looking into the future. Christopher, what is next for Faila? Have you gathered any intel as to what she's going to be doing? I know she's resting, so we couldn't catch her on Zoom, but what happens next? What happens now?
Yes, so for Faila and her team, yesterday I interacted with the lead manager of the team and Faila's husband. In fact, even 4 a.m. today, I was communicating with the husband, and he's been telling me that they just want her to settle. When she's settled, then what they do now is that Faila is not only interested in getting a name for herself, but also ensuring that children growing up also have something to do. So she's going to, take up the mantle of coaching younger ones, especially so when most of our people from the north here migrate to the south just to carry load or kaya and all those things. So she's ready and willing to give some of them a helping hand if they want to venture into cooking and also doing something better for themselves. She's also looking at grooming more young girls into becoming responsible girls in the future. Already she has a restaurant, Mickey's Inn, and she's going to grow it and make sure that everybody that comes to Tamale, if there is a place for you to eat and be comfortable, then it is going to be with her.
Amazing stuff, Christopher. Thank you so much for that update, and it's been awesome following you as you've been giving us the sights and sounds of Tamale. I also saw you enjoying some hot jollof there with Clifford, Nafti, and the rest of the team. Those of you who didn't bring anything back, don't worry. I finish at 10 a.m. and we'll talk after that. But Doc is still on the line with us. So, Doc, after achieving such an incredible feat, is there anything such as a come down, if you will? The adrenaline now starts to leave the body, the reality starts to set in. As far as Faila is concerned, what should she be thinking about, or what would you be encouraging her to do as she settles back into normalcy, which maybe won't return for her for maybe a couple of weeks or months to come?
Okay, thank you. So on our part as a medical team, what even days before this contest came to a close, what we have been thinking about is how do we support her going forward. So 24 hours, so that's the day one after the context. We want to keep the level of expertise that we had around her to still keep checking up on her. So this morning, for instance, we'll have a team closer to her to check the vitals as we did within the context period. And 72 hours. Then beyond that, we are going to be keeping an appointment with her.
Okay.
If she finds anything that is at variance with her normal physiology, then we will say she needs to report to us. But we want to keep monitoring her for a while till she bounces back to normal activity. But because we were constantly checking what she was doing and how her vitals were, because I'm sure if you watch most of the scenes, anytime I thought she took a break, we had the medical team behind, following to her restroom and also to provide some support. So in the room, what we had was that we had a group of nurses who will take the vitals. We had a group of doctors checking her cardiac level to find out in terms of functioning of the heart. Haven't stood up for a while. How is that? Then we had a physiotherapist who performed some level of support also in terms of massage, straightening up the muscles, and to be sure the muscle had the appropriate tone to withstand another period of 6 hours or 3 hours. Then at the background was the psychologist, myself, and one of my colleagues, also giving her it is possible. You have set up to do this, but you can do it. We understand it's going to be stressful. And I must admit, from the psychological perspective, what pushed Chef Faila on was what I keep saying is the intrinsic motivation from day one. And listening to her address yesterday, I saw a resilient young woman who, for long, has been hungry for a greater feat like this. Because left to Faila alone and from her husband, she will want to cook and cook and cook. But her manager at the point said that this is a context.
That's right.
The people of Ghana have shown us some level of support. We cannot keep going on. There must be a point where we see that we are bowing out of this. And to give the people of Ghana the assurance that we appreciate what they have done to us. And what the people of Ghana and indeed the entire world and the support base in Tamale have done for our dear sister is what I call the intrinsic motivation, the push. And if you, as your men on the ground will often report, anytime I thought there was a very significant visitor, our dear sister was charged. Even though a lot of people saw her break down, like you see that she was a bit weaker when somebody visited. But there was a psychology behind that. It was overwhelming, the visit. Can you imagine very important personalities in our landscape?
That's right.
Come, and she described herself as a mere Dagomba girl. Come to me, and do I really deserve this? And so the overwhelming nature of the visit was one of the reasons why we saw her becoming weaker when we had very important visits. And also the importance of that visit or those visits on her personality and her self-esteem. And I must admit, the desire to want to sharpen her skill. These were 3 reasons why we often saw our chef kind of break down a little when they were very important guests or important visitors. So from this psychological perspective, what we are going to be doing going forward is to say that we want to keep monitoring her psychologically, because we understand a long period of sleep deprivation have its own health implication. It can affect our immune system, it can affect our judgment level, and it can affect our connection with people. So we are going to keep giving her what I will call the psychological support. So that to ensure that in the next 1 week, in the next 2 weeks, in the next 1 month, a month, in the next 3 months, what, for my part as a psychologist, I want to journey with Faila to ensure that she's psychologically stable, mentally fit to continue her business. Because I kept mentioning this to a number of media men who engage me. What is the point in winning a contest and not available to celebrate that victory? So what we're going to do is to ensure that this victory that she got for herself and for Ghana and for Africa, she will need to stay healthy to enjoy it. And so we want to journey with her and give her the support. So medically, we want to ensure that she's fit, bounce back, because I know the enthusiasm and the euphoria will soon go down. She will bounce back to normal life. But she herself mentioned something yesterday during her address. Will I still be able to ride motorbike to go and buy that wasa wasa? I can see it's a delicacy for her. But so the implication of how her personality has shot up. How the contest have projected her. Will I still be able to go back to my ordinary way of doing things? And that's the aspect that I, as a psychologist, will need to come in.
Because that's very important. Because if you've been incognito, if you will, this whole time, and now everywhere you go, you're being recognized, that will certainly have an impact on your psychology, because you might have some anxieties, like she said, about going to your usual hangout, because now people are expecting great things from you moving forward. How do I go back to normalcy? How do I go back to, my regular life? Because now I am Chef Faila the Great, Executive Chef Faila.
Yes. So that is that aspect that from now onwards, I will be providing therapy for her to get to the point where we call contentment going forward.
Sure.
What is it that I need to do? Because the truth is that this was big. But has it actually brought in the resources for you to sustain that energy level going forward?
That's right.
Maybe not. So that is the point where we need to accept that, yes, the 10 days was so big. And
That's
so
right.
people came in.
That's right.
Going forward, a year, 2, 5, and 10 years going on. How do I need to live my life? Not to the point of trying to pretend or trying to assume a person which is not me, because I have become a celebrity, and so I will need to live, extravagantly. So these are things that we will want to be engaging here. Live within your means, do the things that you enjoy. And I must admit, one other thing from day one I mentioned to Chef Faila was, you see, this contest is not about do and die.
Okay.
But go in there and enjoy yourself. Just enjoy what you're doing. And I kept telling her, take one day at a time. Don't be wanting to say, I'm finishing on the 5th, especially when we started on the 1st. I say, see to it that we conclude day one successfully and fruitfully.
Absolutely.
And so if you want to take it one after the other, you realize that you go far. But if you want to look at the whole bigger picture, you may not go far. And I gave her the scenario. If you want to go onto the 4th floor of a story building, you surely must step on the first stairs.
That's right.
Before you go to the top. So don't look at the top, look at what is in front of you. And that I call mindfulness from the psychological perspective. So I kept reminding her, be mindful of what you do,
right?
But also enjoy what you do. Once you enjoy what you do, it will be difficult for you to say, I want to give up. You know, when you love what you do and you appreciate what you are as a person, there's nobody who can discourage you.
Absolutely.
And that is what we saw in our
Absolutely.
sister. But behind the scene, I kept telling her that, please, you can't give up on yourself. Even before you took this contest, you did not know me. I saw Chef Faila just on Sunday.
Wow.
As a psychologist.
Wow.
But we connected so well that it became very okay for us to even look at each other, and we immediately understood what we each wanted from the conversation.
That's amazing.
So
right.
From now onwards, the medical team will engage her.
Right.
And you know what we did also was that, permit me to add this.
Sure.
We realized that there was some level of some layers in this context. If you come to look at Chef Eric, I call the first layer of Chef Faila's energy.
Okay.
Then came the husband.
Okay.
Came the young ladies who Johnny just talked about, who did a lot of the cutting for her.
Right.
Then her management team. So we then came in to put into practice or to put into action a team of mental health professionals who started engaging. Once my focus was on Chef Faila and Eric, there was another group of people who were also attending to the team members.
So this was a whole teamwork. So not just psychological support for Chef Faila, but for those who were also assisting her.
Exactly. So each of them also had the medical examination during the breaks, and then I thought they felt that they needed an attention from the medical team. They did. But from the psychological perspective, we then also started engaging them.
Right.
We did that, and appreciating the fact that any negative energy around any of them had the potential to impact on our contestants. So
right.
we ensured that they were with positive energy and with high spirit going forward in their daily activity. So we have that mental health team also engaging the management to ensure that whatever you are, anytime at all you are looking at her, give her positive vibes.
And you were certainly on hand to make sure that psychological aspect was taken care of. Well, Doc, thank you so much for your efforts in the last 10 days. Thank you so much for engaging with us this morning. And this conversation can be expanded across different disciplines. And the foundation is there that if intrinsically you want to accomplish great things, you have to be strong and also have a team around you who can support you. So a word of caution for those who are now trying to do all types of thons, Doc. We have people say they are doing this thon, dance-a-thon, braid-a-thon, barber-a-thon, shake-a-thon, so many thons. They have to be mentally prepared for that. But Doc, we'd love to engage you further on this as the days progress. And we'll certainly be coming back to you. Sure.
So one thing that got me excited was the incorporation of psychology in this context. You know, in our life as human beings, we have often done a lot of our things without considering mental health.
That's right.
But we are mental health. We are people who, if our mental health is well shaped, we can achieve so much.
That's
And
right.
see,
That's
mental
right.
health comes from the side of preventive. But unfortunately, as a people, as Ghanaians, we really haven't prioritized preventive medicine or preventive health.
Very
and this
important.
Is why our preventive health is
That's
very
it.
expensive.
That's right.
And so we need to. I was so excited to be called upon as a psychologist.
Right.
And I must admit that I did all of this, especially when I spoke to one of my leaders from the Ghana Psychological Association. I did this because I saw a projection for my profession. And I must
Amazing
admit
stuff.
that the management of Chef Faila did well, as the management of Ifwa,
Yes.
who also had psychologists in her team. So going forward as a country,
That's right.
in most of our countries, we need psychologists, we need mental
We
health
do.
professionals.
And that's something that I'm certainly very passionate about. And Doc, we have to do a part 2 on this because we know our mental health resources are simply not enough to sustain the populace. But again, Dr. Peter Amadou, psychologist on Chef Faila's medical team, Ayiko to you and Ayiko to the profession as well. And let's talk some more on this subject. And I'm sure there's some leftover food that is probably coming your way. Some more jollof coming to you, Doc. Ayiko, for your hard work, and let's engage soon. Well, I still have Chef Dede in the studio, and hopefully Johnny to wrap this up for us in 30 seconds. Johnny, are you still with us?
That's right, I'm here.
Okay, well, Johnny, before I let you go in about a minute or so, what do you think this cookathon now has done for tourism as a whole? Because we've seen how much spotlight has been put on Tamale, the economy there having gotten some small boost of energy and some local fuel to bolster things. What kind of cues should, let's say, the Ministry of Tourism take from this cookathon to boost our tourism in Ghana?
Well, yesterday I had a brief conversation with the director of tourism for the Northern region. While we were there in front of the glass, waiting for Faila to come out and wrap up the activities. And I asked him what the plan was. He said, well, he will revert. But also, I was hoping that by this time, the regional coordinating council, the regional minister who was there himself with the chief of staff, would have actually put out, some plans and policy, because then we can work towards making that place a heritage site as has been done in other countries. Look at what Ifwa has done here. You go to the Kwaba Park, the booth is still there. It could be a tourist attraction, raking money for it. So I was thinking that we could have a bigger plan for it. Somebody also mentioned to me 2 days ago in Tamale that, well, they were thinking that Faila could have a closing concert or a big congratulatory concert.
That's not a bad idea.
And then charge gate fees, and then use the gate fees to put up an institute or a school, a Faila chef, cook, vocational school of a sort for those who are interested in learning how to cook, learning how to garnish food, and all of those ones to come there and come and learn, and then also that will start amphi businesses all across Tamale. So I'm very hopeful that the Northern Regional Coordinating Council, led by the minister, will come through at this point and actually have policy direction for it, because they are supposed to be coordinating all of these things. They have a direction for it, that this is the drive of tourism that we want. We want people to come here and not just come and enjoy tours after Tubani or Wasa Wasa and go away, but we want them to also come here and we can rake in some more money from them beyond what they put in the restaurants and hotels and all of that. That, for me, is the bigger picture I'm looking at, because if you travel around, you will notice that most of the things, maybe sometimes I think that it is because we all are born into tourism, so we actually don't see the value of it. So, for example, at the Faila town, for example, people came, they were playing their drums, they were dancing. I mean, it was all for free. People were dancing. And if you know the Northern Region, if you walk through town and you are dressed flamboyantly in your smock and maybe with your hat and all of that, people will start playing for you. You have to give them some money. So it's become like a normal thing. Whereas those things are stuff that people travel miles and miles to come to our universities, University of Ghana, KNUST, to come and learn how to even play the pattern of our drums and all of that. So that for us is huge tourism. How are we package that so that the people who come playing for you do not look unkempt, they don't look dirty, they don't look sweaty, but they look very presentable in trying to, draw your attention to play for them. We should start thinking around all these things, because obviously this has put Tamale on the map, and by extension the greater portion of the north. this has also drawn a lot of business interest there.
That's
this
right.
will also draw a lot of tourism interest there. If we don't take advantage of it to properly position the place, we will come back in 5 years to be complaining that after Faila and nothing happened.
Right.
We cannot sit still and wait till something happens. We need to put in the work. The work will come from policy. The policy will give direction, and the direction will guide the people where to go and what to do. So that if somebody just comes up and pulls a camera to want to take a photo of something, say, hey, please,
Right.
it's a no photo zone.
Right.
You have to pay something small to take
Right.
a photo. We need to conscientize our people to know that tourism is a big earner. We can make money from it.
That's
if,
right.
If we decide, and so we can stop begging and borrowing all across the place.
Absolutely. Johnny, thank you so much for joining me this morning, and we can't wait to have you back at HQ. Keep resting.
Thank you.
All right. Well, Chef Dede is still with us. Now, as far as Ghanaian food is concerned, how excited are you that the spotlight is on Ghana, and not only on, the usual foods that we know about, but on other types of cuisine? So we're being exposed to, I didn't even know that a frog was eaten up north.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
I think it's brilliant, and not to compare so much, but especially since she was just on the heels of the Singathon, which was in Accra.
That's right.
So, of course, everyone that came for Dirty December or whatever was exposed to that, but not everybody had the chance to go to Tamale. So I think, honestly, it's very brilliant. It's brilliant education. It's a brilliant display of culture, and I really do applaud her for that.
Would you attempt a record like that?
It's so funny because you're in the industry. You
Yes.
have all your friends and family texting you, oh, you're next. What can you do?
Yeah.
I don't think the journey is for everybody.
Okay, because having listened to what Doc was saying, Dr. Peter, the amount of psychological work that actually goes, I don't even know if I had averted my mind to that. Not only Chef Faila got psychological help, also the team around
Yes,
here.
exactly.
And Doc also made mention of, well, now your status had changed, and Chef Faila was worried about going to a local eatery.
just
Can
being
I
a
go?
normal
Being a normal
person.
person.
Yeah.
And if you're not prepared for that magnitude of attention, it can be tricky to navigate.
And you know what's funny? That the reverse is also true, because I don't want to mention a name, but whoever had attempted this record before shot to fame. And
Are
then,
you talking about Hilda Bassi
you know
of
who
Nigeria?
I'm talking about. I will only name who needs to be named, and that's Chef
Is this
Faila.
a case of she who
But-
does not need to be named?
Yes, it is.
Oh
It
my
is,
goodness.
because-
Ghanaians don't want to forgive Hilda Bassi for the jollof comments. Is that what's going on?
No. It's not about that, but you cannot be condescending and arrogant to those who supported you, because previously people were of the notion that, very few Ghanaians or no Ghanaian individual had been in the Guinness records. That's not true. Asamoah Gyan is
Asamoah
in
Gyan
there.
is there as a top goal scorer for the for AFCON
most
games, yes.
missed penalties. The
Indeed,
Boateng brothers are in there.
Yes.
For two brothers that I played. I think there are two Ghanaian acrobats, blah, blah, blah. But I think at the time we took her in as, our West African sister. Anyway.
We digress. Moving forward.
If you see the way that she shot to fame, and then when you heard that she had been dethroned, the reverse is also true. That can mess with your mind, because, you're thinking, it's my time now. I'm on top, and, I've done this great thing. And then all of a sudden in 2 months, it's like, you're not relevant anymore. So as much as Doc talked about that and, her not being a normal person, she also needs to come to terms with the fact that these things may be temporary. There might be endorsements coming in, investors coming in, philanthropic opportunities coming in, but you never know. I mean, we're in January. By March, somebody could be breaking that record. So the reverse is also true. Psychologically, she needs to be prepared for anything.
Now, the year is 2024. What do you want to see Ghanaian chefs do more of this year? I remember when I think, this is my opinion.
Right.
I remember when a Ghanaian chef seemed to be getting carried away with either deconstructing the meals or attempting to brothelize our local dishes. It's a brand new year. What do you want Ghanaian chefs to pay attention to as we highlight Ghanaian food?
Let me be very honest with you, and I really do thank you for bringing this up, because this is something that is on my heart. A lot of people focus on Ghanaian meals or using Ghanaian ingredients, but I have a sweet tooth, and I realize that as Ghanaians, we don't really so much as have a dessert culture.
Okay.
So I would love to see more indigenous or more native or more Ghanaian-made desserts, or using, our ingredients towards, sweet after meals, as you would call it. Yeah.
What do we typically eat after meals as something sweet?
When you think about it, yeah.
Maybe
a fruit
fruits,
cup,
something like that,
with
some
milk
cut-up
over
fruits.
it, or what's that thing? The condensed milk toffee.
Yeah.
Now I know they do like the tiger nut pudding.
Yes, that's also getting quite popular.
Yeah.
But we
not
could do
enough
more.
For me.
You want to see more sweet things?
Starting with me, I will try.
So this year you're going to be giving us some sweet Ghanaian treats.
Some sobolo cheesecake and some, you know what I'm talking about.
Chef Dede, you are speaking to my palate. Sobolo cheesecake.
Oh yeah.
I'm seeing the vision. Let me think. Maybe what can we do with both fruits?
Even so many things. I mean, we make chocolate
infused,
here.
I've been seeing infused both fruits.
We make chocolate here. There's so many things to do with our local ingredients. So many things. Yeah.
Now, Chef Dede, are you part of any chefs association in Ghana?
Yet.
Okay,
yes.
But I did see that the chefs association, they did go and throw their weight behind her.
I think I saw Sweet Ajele go as well. I think I saw Men's Cook. I'm so
we saw a number of those going to support. A great year, I think, for Ghanaian food, because for me, listen, Ghanaian food is unmatched. The flavors, I think we make some truly delicious and exciting food. But for yourself, it's the start of a new year. What plans do you have, to advance your own cooking, advance the Ghanaian culture and food?
So when I initially came into Accra,
apart from sobolo cheesecake, of course.
I think I want more cooking classes. A lot of people are so focused on, you're a chef, when are you going to open your restaurant? But I think personally we might need more, institutions that teach, so we can pass the knowledge on. We can't keep gatekeeping what we know. We teach others, and them with their creativity and everything, will keep on passing that knowledge forward.
And are we keeping our old recipes well? Do you think that they're being still passed down?
Yes. A house always needs a good foundation. Only when the bones are strong will you grow. So we definitely do need to keep our old recipes well. What's the word I would say? Improving on them if you must. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Now, if you missed out on that euphoria as Chef Faila finished that cookathon after some 227 hours, let's take a quick listen. Let's tap into that vibe right about now. And if you're watching us on Facebook, you can see some of the sights and scenes. And I mean, there was so much emotion around that final countdown. I can only imagine how she was feeling. And Chef Dede, in an environment like that, what could potentially go wrong if you're in the kitchen? What are some of them? He says, if only you knew.
Everything.
Wow.
Again, like even with Doc mentioning, you might be so, because I know she has experience with owning a restaurant, Mickey's Inn. You might get complacent. You might think, I've done this before, I have the experience. And, accidents happen. Having somebody else, making sure you guys, her sous chef, are on the same track. Yeah, everything and anything can go wrong. But they took all the safety measures, and that was great. Yeah.
But when things go right, boy, do they go right. Chef Faila has certainly made all of us proud.
Nice and nice. Nice and nice. Yes. Thank you so much. This is beautiful. Military service. Yes, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, I've said it earlier, we have the high ranking of the military service. If they have anything to say to our sister, we just take a short word from them before they leave us. Yes, sir. You're welcome. Thank you so much for coming. Hello. Yes.
227 hours later. I keep thinking about it. I'm like, wow, I don't know what I could comfortably do for 200 plus hours with the same vim, passion, and energy. But again, kudos to Chef Faila. What an amazing, amazing feat. Chef Dede, final thoughts on this one, and we can wrap up on this.
I think, like Johnny said, it's amazing for tourism. And I'm so proud of Ghanaians. I just want to leave it on that note. Let's keep supporting our own. We don't need to compare to whoever. Let's just keep pushing, and we can do it.
Amazing. Chef Dede is are you an executive? Which one is executive chef?
Those who, the top, the boss, the oga. So you have the executives, then you have the sous chef. Yeah.
Okay, Chef Dede is an executive chef.
They're Oya now.
Yeah. The boss of all bosses. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. And hopefully we can talk more about Ghanaian cuisine this year.
Definitely.
Maybe teach our listeners a thing or two. Why not? I'm still looking to perfect my jollof, because as for jollof, dear, you can never finish.
No, you say they
learning
say don't
tips and
tell
tricks.
Jollof that you are
You
cooking
cannot announce that you are making jollof. Jollof will disgrace you if you announce its presence. But Chef, thank you so much for your time this morning. Wishing you a fruitful and a delicious year.
Thank you, Helen.
Have an amazing day.
And every time I look in my mind, I see the